Okay, this is the live DJ mix that I've never done before. My name's John Butcher. I work for the Open University and I'm responsible for access provision and widening participation research. And I'm here, I'm afraid, to problematise some issues and assumptions around outreach. And I think the problematisation comes from what is outreach. And I thought possibly last night I'd go on the OFFA website and have a look at what they said about outreach. And they say these two very helpful things: directly engaging schools and colleges in a sustained way to boost achievement and aspirations. And we've kind of heard about that already, but if you work with adult learners, that actually isn't very much use. And the second one was much more helpful about targeting activities at people from communities underrepresented. So what does the OU do? It works with 200,000 new students a year. It still has an open access entry policy. Almost all OU students are adult learners. They study part-time, they work, most work full-time. So this is a very different student body we're talking about here. The Open University is a national provider of distance education, so the notions of local and regional work we were hearing about earlier doesn't really make a great deal of sense for us. The idea of working, lovely as it is, going into a local primary school or a secondary school, we're not going to find our adult learners there. We might find the parents there, and I've got a story about parents, but I'll come to that in a second. So what we're thinking about really is the idea of how might we engage with potential adult learners who might be looking for part-time learning opportunities that we, as I've said, they're already working, but they probably do need flexible study opportunities. They're already working, they're already in caring roles. So one of the things we do, and I just posit this as, is this outreach? We run a big access programme. So we have our 3 modules, broadly arts, social sciences and the STEM subjects. They last 30 weeks. They prepare students for higher education. We also do the free stuff. So you can log on to Open Learn and you can get a free chunk of any Open University module. We also have badged open courses which are deliberately aimed at adult learners taking that first tentative step into higher education. And the other thing we do is collaboration. We have close liaison with a group of national partners. So the big thing for us is the notion of working at a national level. We have our social partnership network, and with the advent of NNCO, we have been able to draw upon that to work nationally around some strategic objectives to widen access and support lifelong learning. So the vision of the social partnership network, working with other organisations really, all with a commitment to lifelong learning, particularly with a widening participation dimension here, to think about the extent to which we can meet the need of diverse learners. And for us that often means people who are working in quite poorly paid jobs as well as being in the community. So that's they're our partners. You'll recognise a lot of them. We've had a long history of working with people like the WEA. Some of those are very student-facing. Some of those are kind of indirectly working with students, and some of those are very kind of lobby, policy-minded organisations, and there'll be a quiz at the end to see if you can spot which one is which. Our NNCO then, so additional funding, thank you very much, HEFKI, and we've done that. We're a lead organisation, and as you know, there are 38 of them, 3 of which are national. We've got one of them, but we have the only one that focuses on part-time adult learners, those who are unemployed, quite important, or those in low-paid roles. And what do? We do 3 things. 1, we have a website. It's kind of more than just a website, though, really. So it's bringing together opportunities, flexible study for adult learners, and it certainly includes a wide range of provision. And the idea is to signal opportunities in one particular place there. Okay, lots of careers, information, advice, and guidance. In terms of Strand 2. So we're certainly working in terms of producing courses. We have 6 free badged online courses, 15 hours each. We work with our partners to decide which, in a sense, were the sectors most in need of some support in this area. And they were designed, interesting challenges around design. Some of that was around co-authoring the utilisation of materials we already had. Some was new material. A challenge to get authors to write at level 0, so very much of that entry-level writing. And the important thing was they're freely available, and you get a badge if you're a student and you do them. Challenges, as I say, writing at the level, co-authoring, different traditions, academic authors, authors used to writing training materials, and particularly about thinking about learning outcomes. And more importantly, I think the big one here is, how do you assess work that's kind of informal learning, really? And I can talk about that afterwards if anyone will be interested. The third strand, the big one for today, research and evaluation. We are really, really keen to come up with a way of evaluating the journey learners take, adult learners, from informal to formal learning. So we're going to combine quantitative and qualitative approaches. There's going to be some work on analytics that the OU is quite experienced in now. And we clearly want to know, in relation to the popularity of the courses, but also in particular the kind of demographic. Are we reaching the students we think these particular provision is aimed at? And are they, of course, if students engage with them, demonstrating any change in motivation and confidence? I said it earlier, I'll say it again now. We have real difficulty in adult education with tracking the impact of interventions. So we'd love to engage with HEAT. We don't think it will quite help us particularly. Open for discussion on that. Analytics, the OU is awash with. That can only give us limited information because we can't necessarily tag the students that we've been working with until they sign up for us. And so I just leave with a conclusion here. We need a really broad definition of outreach to be inclusive here. I like the notion of people from communities underrepresented in HE, but the tracking of that impact remains difficult. And I've only got 19 slides. That's it. Thank you.